Thanks. I appreciate your patience, everyone. I get my streams correct. Okay. All right. So today is Tuesday, April 12th. It's 10:01 a.m. and we are doing another church communicators and liaisons conversation. And today's big topic is about scams, email scams and cybersecurity. So I'm hoping that we can share a little bit of what are some recent things that we've seen, just to kind of help raise awareness of different ways that churches and individuals are getting scammed. And maybe we can come up with like a list of, okay, here's a good handful of things that we should be doing on a quarterly basis or biannual basis. I've got some ideas in mind, and I could be way off on what's acceptable to do at a local church, but let's go ahead and get this started. First, I'd love to hear from you guys. What have any of you seen or experienced anything at your church with members personally with scams? Go ahead, Chris. What's been going on?
We have, and sorry, I'm going crazy. Apparently there's a noise in our neighborhood somewhere. Yeah, so we have had our pastor sending out emails from a random Gmail account asking for gift cards. I actually received an email today from one of our former pastors, who I think is now retired. And let me pull that one up. So that one was, hello, hope you're good. Sorry to bother you. Do you order on Amazon? So we've been sending out, here's what to look for, here's what to do, here's what not to do. We've been doing that both in print, online, and pulpit announcements.
Just this morning, I got an email from someone saying, "Hi, how are you? Do you order on Amazon?" I didn't recognize the person, and it just seemed like a really weird message. So I reported that one right away. Any others?
Same here. And I won't name him, but it is a retired clergy member. And if you double check the address, I think you'll know who he is. And this was not a forgery. I do believe that his email account has been compromised. I checked. I haven't reached out to him personally yet. Maybe you have, Chris. You might want to.
I haven't, but I think Jeff has.
Oh, good.
That's for Jeff.
Thank you. I do have another example that just popped up on my Facebook yesterday. And in this case, it was another clergy member reporting, saying, please disregard any emails requesting gift cards from their church or from the pastor or any staff person, that they're doing the gift card thing again. And so I double checked their website real quick to see if there was like what you call an attractive nuisance, like when you have something dangerous that you're providing that scammers can then find that information and triangulate. The most dangerous thing to do is to publish your church newsletter to your church website. If the newsletter names names, and especially if the newsletter has anybody's phone number or email address in it, because that has been the primary vector for those kind of scams.
And that's a perfect lead in. That's one of the things that I just recently heard about from one of our churches. It was a little more sophisticated. It seemed like it's the whole, can you send you buy a $500 gift card? And they're making it sound like I think it made it sound like if it's from the pastor. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they make it sound like it's from the pastor, and the message has poor spelling and words that the pastor wouldn't normally use. So luckily that alerted some people, like, this doesn't seem right. But then the thing that's different this time around is that they're sending out a follow-up email that mentions all the church staff. So it kind of makes it seem more legitimate. Oh, well, they know us, so maybe this is right. And so that's one of those things where, like Chris said before, we all need to get into the habit of reminding people that we're not going to do that. The pastor's not going to be asking you an email or text message or anything like that. If there ever is an official request, it's going to be done, however it is that your church would do it. Maybe in the newsletter, there would be the pastor or somebody from one of the committees talking about it at the pulpit. There'd be different ways that you would know this is legitimate. It wouldn't be out of the blue from an email or text message or phone call. So they do believe that at that church, they were trying to figure out on their website if they had the newsletter or a church directory linked somehow, because it seemed like at this particular church, they're going through the membership in alphabetical order, contacting people. So they're like, somehow, somewhere, we must have had a live link to access stuff. So they're digging deep. So that's a good idea for all of us to start going through our websites and making sure we don't have links like that. And David's recommendation of making sure your newsletter doesn't include specific contact information and names like that. That's a great idea. Go ahead, Carla.
David, Christina, wouldn't it also be advantageous to remind members and to do it ourselves, but to blind copy people on our emails? Sometimes I get copied on an email and there's 50 people and I don't even know 2/3 of them. And if that person gets hacked, then yeah.
That's a fabulous idea. Thank you for that. Doing a blind copy instead of copy all or BCC. No, BCC is the blind copy, or CC with the big old group that you need to send stuff to. Yeah, because once it goes out there, especially if anybody is doing any email forwarding, then if like for us in the conference, we have security measures in place where our messages are getting encrypted. But as soon as somebody forwards it to a personal email account, then that encryption is gone. And if somebody's, however they do it, I don't know how they do it, but I know once it goes out of our secure environment and gets forwarded to some other Gmail or whatever, then it's no longer encrypted and people could get all those CCs, all those email addresses. So blind copy, that's a great idea. Thank you. There's another scam that's going on right now that you guys might not get this. It's actually going to conference level finance directors, and it hasn't gotten to ours yet, but ours has been informed about it. But there's something to take away from this example. So I was recently notified of a scam that looks like it's coming from Global Ministries Finance Department. It looks like it. And they're targeting the finance staff, asking them to update their EFT forms, which is used for issuing payments. And the way they discovered that it wasn't correct, a finance director that received it reported back to Global Ministries that this doesn't seem right, because the email address, the domain after the @ sign, instead of being umcmission.org, it was umcmission.org, and N instead of a M. So it's very similar, and it's not really that difficult for someone to do something like that. For a scam that looks, we've seen the ones where it might be wcchurch@gmail.com. You can come up with stuff like that for free using a Gmail address, but that's a pretty quick, obvious, like, hey, that's not right. Our church domain isn't gmail.com. But something like that, a tiny little letter change in the domain itself, they just have to buy that domain, which probably isn't popular. UMC mission, that's not even a word. So it's probably super cheap to buy that domain and create email addresses like that. So that's, it's an extra step. I know a lot of us might just be going through our, like, especially at a church office, we get, I mean, I'm not at a church office anymore, but I consider it very similar. You know, we all get a ton of emails every day. And sometimes you're skimming through them, go through quick, but we really have to be careful and stay vigilant and pay attention to the whole email address before we click on anything or act on anything. So anyway, that might be a good share. Any other scams you have seen lately? Something different? Okay, then the other thing that I wanted to share was just, oh, go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, just a kind of a random thought. I know that there have been like gift card drives in the past. I'm wondering if it might not be a bad idea to start moving away from those, because I feel like that might legitimize it in some people's eyes. You know, just blanket say we never ask for gift cards. But then, you know, if there are, you know, for different missions or whatever, drives asking for like Target gift cards, Walmart gift cards, whatever. I feel like that kind of might not be the most helpful. So I'm wondering if that might not just be a good practice to start. Sorry, that was just a random thought.
No, that's a great idea. Betty shared that they no longer ask for gift cards. They ask for donations to purchase the gift card. So yeah, that could work. That's a great idea. So I recently heard about KNOW-BE4. That's KNOW-BE, the number 4. And I started looking it up, and you know, I love me the discounts from TechSoup.org. And so this morning I saw that TechSoup offers a discount for KNOW-BE4 for nonprofits. So that's all of us. Then I got busy with other stuff, so I didn't finish going through to see how much do they charge. So I haven't gotten there yet, but I will find out before I send out the email after this meeting, and I'll include that information. I don't want to say that I'm endorsing them because I don't know anything about them. I haven't experienced them, but I found out about it yesterday in a conversation with, it was someone from GCFA that oversees their IT department. They're not like one of the IT directors or anything. It's maybe like a HR or something like that. So it's not exactly like overseeing, but anyway, we were talking about something with security, and she mentioned the KNOW-BE4 and how they just had to do staff training where basically one of the things that this KNOW-BE4 software, or whatever it is, it can do like random checks, like send you a fake email, and then it reports back to whoever's administering KNOW-BE4 who from this team actually clicked through. And so then that helps you understand, okay, so there's a possible, you know, maybe Christina Dillabo needs to learn a little bit more about how to identify scam email. I'm not sure what else it does besides that, but I was going to look into that and send you guys more information. And I was wondering if any of you do anything like that. Because what I was imagining with IT security training was, you know, mine was very low tech. Mine was something like this. I figured it would make sense, and it would, you know, not cost a whole lot of money to either do a PowerPoint slide where you show different examples of what a fake email could look like, asking staff, what do you guys think? How can you tell that this message is fake? Or what do you think people would think about this? You know, and then that would be one way of raising awareness and making sure that people know how to identify something as fake. You know, that was an idea. David sharing a link that I'll share in the email to a knowbe4.com free cybersecurity tools -GA. Check it out. So I don't know, do you guys do anything like that? We've talked about, and Chris mentioned it, sending out a newsletter or article, an email, maybe talking at the pulpit about, hey, watch out, there's these scams that are happening and our church isn't going to do that. This is the way we ask for money or gift cards or whatever. Well, what about with staff? You know, does anybody do any kind of training? No. Go ahead, Jim.
I was just thinking, we have probably 4 or 5 volunteers in our church office, and 3 of those are very tech savvy and would have no problem spotting something unusual. But there's 2 that do not, so we probably need to do some training.
Thanks. Betty says, every time I put out a warning like that, the people start calling the church worried about, and like, is everything okay? Yeah, that makes sense. So you do have to watch out for that. You know, I don't know if you could add some extra messaging in there, because I mean, you're busy enough, and that would kind of stir the pot. People would want to know what happened. Give me the scoop.
Christina, one of my churches, they have it in every single weekly newsletter. So it's not like something's happened to be aware. It's a reminder every week. So people are seeing it all the time rather than after something has happened. And that might help you, Betty, and that people wouldn't be worried that something happens if they see it every time. Now, granted, that means that they can miss it, but I think that that's the kind of thing that if you know what it says, it'll click in your mind. And, you know, if something happened that week, it might register to you.
Awesome.
And I mean, overall, it's a good reminder to have. I'll probably start just repeating every month. I know that AARP has a big campaign on, you know, watch out for gift card scams. But I mean, if we can educate, even if it's not necessarily coming from our church directly, if we can educate people not to fall for this, certainly no harm in that.
Great, thank you. So AARP has something. AARP scam watch out email or letter article. Writing a list of our recommendations. We said consider using blind copy instead of CC when you've got a large group. The AARP scam information article. Consider moving away from gift card drives, so you can say we never ask for gift cards. Scan your website for possible contact lists or directories that share members' email addresses or phone numbers. Publish a reminder article in the newsletter, send an email to all members, raise awareness about these scams during worship before it officially begins. Do this on a biannual or quarterly basis. Consider implementing regularly scheduled IT security training. Some options are know before, but you could do a PowerPoint training demonstrating different things to watch out for. And one church reminds people in every newsletter. Have I missed anything? Okay. All right, well, that's all I had. I'm going to check in also with GCFA to ask with, you know, they offer IT services for the local church as well, but it's not like you have to, if you decided to use them for IT security training, it's not like that means you can't have your own IT support. You know, it's just one thing that they have, one service that they can offer. So I'm going to check in with GCFA to see how much it would be for a local church. I understand that when they do it, that they're like with their own staff, that it's a per user fee. So it's not like a full software, like, oh, it's going to be $500 and then you have it. That, oh, perfect. Thank you, David. $10 course from TechSoup. Nice. That it's a per person expense. So I wonder if the $10 course from TechSoup is per person or is it like a group? I'll send that email. I mean that URL as well and include that in the follow-up.
Good question.
Okay. We'll check all those out. I lost my train of thought, but I think I said what I need to say. So Thank you guys. If you can think of any other tips or have seen something, maybe it's an article that's out there that churches might be able to republish. I would love to receive that and include that in my follow-up. Whether it's this time or some other time, doesn't really matter. Let's help each other out. And if you have some new unique scam that you've heard of or seen at your church or from your members, share that news as well so that we can, raise awareness across the board. Thank you all for joining me for another Tuesday talk. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.